This video has been brought to you by Break Connect. Go to the website and register. Check out what they have to offer at breakconnect.com. Yo, what's up? This is Shadow Rock and Pro 41 of the Floor Gangs and Knuckle Neck Tribe, and you're watching The Trades, the show about breaking, hip hop, and the business of. What's up, y'all, man? It's been a while since I've been live. As you know, I've been kind of busy. This is going to be a show. This is going to be the last live for maybe about 2 weeks. I'm glad you guys have been enjoying some of the stuff, the interviews that I've been putting up. Recently, I put up some clips of Rockstrite. Some highlight clips of Ken Swift. These are little, 1 minute to 2 minute videos just to kind of like, keep the ball rolling as I'm taking, as I'm plotting my February out. I want to give a shout out to Dr. Derek Colon at Urban Exegesis. We're going to do a show soon. I was talking to the other day, and he just did this dope video that I put it on my community tab. And you can check that out here on the Pro 41 channel. If you go to the community tab, I put a link to his video where he describes the difference between the breaks that in Ultimate Breaks and Beats, the difference between the B-boy breaks that the B-boys dance to, and then the breaks that like Melly Mel and Grandmaster Flash use. So there was like a big, huge difference between the two breaks, even though they were like the same, like JB breaks or James Brown breaks or BT Express or whatever it was. Like, he showed the difference, and that's a dope video. Again, you can check that out here on the Pro 41 channel. Now, as we get people in, I want you saw the first sponsor when I went live. And again, we got clean house. So first thing I want to address is 89% of you are not subscribed. You guys got me to basically 1,200 subscribers in basically 600 subscribers in about 4 months. And I want to say thank you to everyone for doing that. You guys have been watching my my shorts, right? It's just me getting down and stuff like that. Thank you so much. But if 89% of you were watching, I would be up to 2,000 subscribers. And obviously, once we start monetizing the channel, I could do a lot more as far as like maybe getting a better camera, maybe getting a better set, moving places. So please, if you're watching the content, enjoying the content, like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. All right. So thank you for that. So the other thing we want to give a shout out to is our sponsor. Give it up to Zen World CBD. Right now, if you don't know about CBD, CBD is from the cannabis plant, but is a non-psychoactive drug. So you don't get a head high. Yet CBD is good for inflammation, and it's good for anxiety. So we have a Zen World product right here. This is a nano drop. And you could put this in your sports drink, in your water, in your coffee. You could take it after a workout, feel relaxed. And again, being 47 and still battling, I don't have an edge like you guys, like they're way younger, where you could actually heal and repair. I have to do CBD for the inflammation. And if you don't want to ingest it, we have the roll-on right here, CBD Freeze, Zen World CBD Freeze. If you don't want to drink it, this works like an icy hot, but yet the ingredient is CBD. You can roll it on. I use it actually every night. It actually helps, man. I've been having this crazy shoulder and in my subscapular. I do a massage and I put this on, go to sleep, feels a lot better the next day. So again, check out the products at zenworld.com. Go there, use the promo code PROFOWON, PROFOWON, and you get 10% off. So why not save money while you're basically healing? All right. Okay. Now that all the cleaning house is done, again, so I haven't been on live for a long time, but this is like long overdue. Like, we were supposed to schedule one at the Gearheads podcast, but some things came up. So, I was like, I heard that this guy was coming back to the Bay. He's like, oh, I'm coming back to the Bay. I saw he's coming back. He's like, yo, let's get on the freaking podcast. Let's get on the Trades. Let's have you on. So without further ado, hailing from San Jose, California, representing style elements. We got my man, the one, the only Poe One. Yo, what's
What's the
up,
deal?
What's up, man? What's up,
What's the
man?
car, brother?
There you
Yeah, thanks for
go.
having me again. Thanks
Yeah,
for having me
dude.
on
I
the
mean, it's been
stage
a
again,
while.
man.
Like, when was that one?
Yeah.
When did you come to the house? When was that again? Do you remember?
I don't know, man. Yo, can I say like the S word and stuff like
Yeah,
that? Like
you
shit.
can cuss all you want. It's all good.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that was a while. But when I went to your house, but it was a
Yeah.
fresh one. We had a great time, man. That was
Yeah,
fun.
man. Yeah, it was really dope. A lot of dope knowledge and stuff like that.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, man. And it was just like, again, it's like we're two old guys, right? We're both over 40 at this point. And
I'm
you know,
52, man.
damn, yo, hey,
52.
hey, 6 months I'll be 48. So I'm like right behind you, bro.
You
You're
got it, brother.
52.
You got it.
I
Hey,
thought you were
yeah, I'm 52,
50.
man.
I thought you were
I'll be
50.
53 in March, man.
Oh man,
I
that's
was
like
born
2 months.
I was born 70, so I moved with the years. So it's like 71,
Right,
I'm one, 72, I'm two. So
right.
now it's 23, I'm gonna be 53. Yeah.
Holy
But
crap.
to be honest, age ain't nothing but a number, man. You know
You
what I
know,
mean?
you already know about my ass. You already know
You know
that.
what I
I
mean?
don't believe that.
Yeah.
So, okay. So let's I asked a few questions before like about mostly about breaking, right? And let's talk about what brought you back to the Bay because obviously you're living in Australia. What brought you to the Bay for this week? So let's talk about that.
Okay. Well, I just finished a small little break. I just finished a 7 months tour that started April 28th in 2022. And I went all over Europe. I went all over like Armenia, Cyprus, and all these different areas. And then I got back to Australia and just for Christmas and New Year's, just to detox. And when I say detox, I mean I meditate and all the damage that I did during the tour, because your body goes through a lot, with the teaching and the breaking night at events and jumping on planes and all that. So I go to this place in Australia called Byron Bay, and in Byron Bay, I really I go into meditation, I go into yoga, and I go into detox with full
Dope,
vegan meals and
dope.
fasting and all that. And then while I was doing that, they called me in Panama. There was a hip hop festival in Panama called the Panama Hip Hop Fest, and they asked if I wanted to go, which I was there with Moy, Daniela, and a guy named Fear. And so I went up to Panama, and then through Panama, since it's only a 2.5 hour flight to Puerto Rico, the Breaking Federation of Puerto Rico contacted me and said, they call la Federación de Breaking de Puerto Rico, contacted me and said, my homeboy Flexo from Stylistic Tribe, he said, yo, Poe, you're just 2.5 hours away. We'll buy you your flight, come to Puerto Rico. And I said, great, because I was already thinking about going because my mother's out there. My mother lives there. So she's from there. So I decided to go. And then I spent 1.5 weeks with my mom and then 4 intensive days with the Breaking Federation.
Oh
Supposed to
shit.
be only 2 hours a day sharing information, but I ended up doing 4 hours a day with them. And we would start at
Classic
8
Poe.
p.m. Yeah, exactly.
Classic Poe.
I was supposed to finish at 10, but they were vibing so much. We were finishing at midnight, bro. And then we would eat and stuff, and I'd go back, and I started staying with Stilo at that time.
Right.
And I started staying at Stilo's house when I taught the Federation. And then after that, I was there, and I wanted to visit my dad because, he's not doing too well health-wise here in San Jose. So my plan was to fly from Panama to California and stay with my dad. So Panama had bought me my return flight to Australia from San Jose,
Oh,
California, leaving for
dope.
Frisco. So I just made a whole little thing of it, thank God, and it worked out organically, and that's why I'm here in San Jose.
Dope.
Yeah,
Yeah, right, right. Again, as I said in the beginning, top of the show, I was like, well, damn, man, if you're here, then let's just do this show right now while I can have
yeah,
you and we're in the same time zone. I mean, obviously we can still do it when you're in Australia, but like I'll be off, I'll be too groggy or whatever, whatnot. And I like to go live, so like it was a perfect opportunity to like have you on. All right, so let's talk about this real quick. I'm gonna pull up this clip or just this video real quick. So recently, I call it I don't know. There's this term that I'm starting to use called the hip hop dark web, right? Because we're not mainstream. Like this is like if you dig into like if you dig, there's like I do collabs with this guy named Dr. Cologne, who's originally he was from the Bronx in 1979 or 1975, and he's been pulling up a lot of stuff, getting into details about certain hip hop things that no one else talks about. And I've been sharing his videos. I've been on his show. King Up Rock was originally on recently on his show, so he's all about the knowledge. He's about 56 years old. So he's like really cool with Lino and cool with Icy Ice and stuff like that. So we talk a lot. We talk a lot about like sampling or what songs were what, and he had his experience. And then the other guy that I just mentioned behind stage is like this guy Dregs One, who is like a graffiti writer too. And he basically has been killing it online. Like he had like a lot of the Bay Area slang and stuff like that. And he'll talk about rappers from the Bay Area, like Cool Nut and IMP and all these guys that are very they're very niche to our area. And then right now I'm showing a little snippet of him and Crayon. And let's talk about a little bit about this interview, because you said you basically hit up Crayon. And shout out to Crayon. He was like talking about you're talking about like, yo, I'm not from New York, because he basically said you're from New York. Let's talk about that whole time, right? Because there's that video that there's a documentary that came out like a few years ago called Piece by Piece, right? And they talk about the battles, right? They talked about the whole thing that happened with it was the crews of who was the crew? It was Doug and them. What's Doug's crew again? Sorry, see, TMF versus TWS, right? Right. That's
TWS. Right?
Yeah. So you were around at this time.
Yeah.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
So that was like so let's talk. Yeah. So I haven't. So okay. And mind you, people, I'm not good at the graffiti thing. This is so mind you, Poe's gonna like walk me through this. All I know is that Piece by Piece and the stuff that I saw, like literally maybe 87.
My name is mentioned in Piece by Piece as well.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So let's go with first the first question with the interview with Crayon, my brother Crayon. We still repping the crew together. I've known Crayon probably since about 84. I was about 14, you know, and we've known each other a long time. I was frequently back and forth from San Jose to Puerto Rico back to San Jose. I grew up on the south side. So here in San Jose, near the Orchard Supply Hardware off of Santa Clara or San Carlos Street, there's a bridge. I think it's Santa Clara. It's where the train station goes through. There's an underground tunnels and like walls and everything like that. The underground tunnels we call the tunnels here, and then the walls that are under the bridge we call walls of fame. And this was our walls of fame here in San Jose. And I met Crayon there, actually. That's where I met him at Walls of Fame. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was at Walls of Fame, because he came and did a piece. And we were analyzing someone's piece, because there's these caps that came out that were called phantom caps, that we call them phantom caps. And other areas call them Liquitex caps, but they were, in our area, we call them phantom cap, because they would flare at the end. They had this mist at the end. Okay. And we were trying to analyze it, and we were like talking, and we were like, how did they get the line so crisp? And we were thinking like, oh, maybe they stenciled it and stuff like that. So that's how we met, and we built a great relationship. Then later on, my good friend Picasso, which is James, which he goes by Blaze now, his original name Blaze. We all hung out. My original crew here was TWC. I brought it from Puerto Rico. And TWC stands for Together We Create, which is back out, called 408 TWC, which my homeboy Whisper re-brought out as a program to keep youth out of trouble and stuff. So we were all TWC, and then we formed Lords later on. But let me tell you, that's how I kind of met Crayon. Right. But let me go back to the interview. So in the interview, he said, there was Poe out there always dressing fly and saying like, I'm saying like, he's from New York, but he was from here also, like California, that I was based here. I just want to say one thing, which I called him on, and I said, I'm not from New York. One thing is, I was born here in San Jose, California. All right. I was born in El Camino Hospital in 1970, March. And And my parents divorced when I was 7 or 8 years old. And then my mother took me to Staten Island to live with my aunt and her to get away out of San Jose for a little bit. Then at the age of 10, I moved to Puerto Rico. Once her house was done, she got a house. And once the courts and stuff were all finished, we went to Puerto Rico. But within all that time, I was going back and forth. So by law, by the court of law, I still had to see my dad every summer when I wasn't in school. So I
Okay.
would make, I would make friends, or I had my old friends here, and I wanted to stay. Then I would miss my mother. Then I would go to Puerto Rico. Then I miss my dad or my sister, and I come back here. So I was going back and forth all my life. So I was getting the best parts of both coasts.
Word.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah.
I'll say it that way. My best friend here was Snow. His name is Pat Mermel. And we call him, his original name was Snowball, and I thought that was a little like corny, so I said cut it down to Snow.
Right.
And because he's so white and pale, so I said, just call yourself Snow. And I started giving him his first letters and stuff like that. My first letters I learned from was a guy named Georgie. He was from Brooklyn. Okay. And he gave me my first alphabet when I was in Puerto Rico. Another guy was Creole, King Creole. He also gave me my alphabet. Then also Puck and Zoe. They were both from Brooklyn. The P from Puck and the OE from Zoe is Poe. All right.
All right.
Before that, they used to call me Little Ness, and not because of Alien Ness. All the writers here will tell you, like, oh, that's Ness right there. They know me as Ness, and they'll hit me up as Ness, which stands for Never Ending Style. And that's because of one of my mentors in Puerto Rico that came from New York. His name was Nestor, and they called him Nasty Nesta or Nasty Ness. And that was so I was kind of under him, and they called me Little Ness. Some of the guys around the neighborhood in Puerto Rico. So when I was heavily writing, I would hit Ness, and then you start getting hot with that name, writing. So you change it, and you have aliases, and then I changed it to my other alias, which was Poe. I have another alias which I can't say online.
Of course, because you're still you're still active. Yeah, so it's crazy. It was dope. Like I said, that's dope because it's funny because like right when you start talking about all that, it happened. The documentary, I pulled up the piece by piece, and it just showed like Crayon and them and all that, and Doug talking. So while you were telling the story, this is one thing about the Dregs interview that was pretty interesting was that the breaking and the graffiti was pretty connected because even when when Crayon was talking about like he was in high school and then Chris Lopez came and he called him out in the hallway, and it's in the hallway. Yeah, and he was like, okay, I quit breaking after.
That's how we did it.
Right.
I'll be honest, like in Puerto Rico, like I was just talking about this in an interview in Puerto Rico. The Federation just recorded me, and they said, how was it in the 80s here in Puerto Rico? And I said, it was like this all around in the 80s. I'll be like this. We didn't have videos and stuff to watch, okay? And if somebody had a Betamax that they were able to record, or if it recorded, or a VHS tape when VCRs came out, and they were able to record something that was on TV, and you would go and watch it, okay? You would go and watch it at the house, and if they weren't tight with it, because people were mad tight with this shit, any information. But it was a beautiful thing back then because, let's say in school, it's not like now that, skaters look like cats that live hip hop culture. There's BMXers do, like, hip hop is, I don't want to say hip hop is, but I'll just say hip hop is people involved in the culture now rocking Vans and this, that. In my day, we didn't do that. Vans were for BMX people and skateboarders. You know what I mean? Yep. And we were rocking, we weren't even rocking too much Chucks. I rock Chucks now more often than I used to, but Chucks were more for like stoners, what we would consider stoners, like people that listen to the Ramones and stuff like that. Right. And like in school, you had like on one table you had your jocks, on the other table you had your nerds, and then on a special table you had those that were interested in the culture of hip hop, and we all knew each other. We all knew each other, and we all were looking for that information and sharing that information by word of mouth. Okay, so we heard somebody was new,
Right.
that came in new to a school, like if I was in elementary school and somebody told me, oh, there's another dancer that came that's going to be at the rally. There's like this rally, and it's like all our schools would compete in sports. You would take your boys and dancers, and you would meet at the rally, and then you knew that the other dancers from that school were going to be there, and you would call them out in the hallways or in the back of the school. While everybody was competing in track and field on the other side, we were in the hallway somewhere looking for a room to battle these cats. You know what I mean? And that's how we would meet each other and see each other. In Puerto Rico, we have what is called a plaza, a square in the middle of the town, and this is where we would practice. I just was there in my hometown.
Oh shoot!
And I recorded a video of me talking, but it's Spanish, of me talking where we used to practice, and I show, and I kind of tear up in the video because it's a long time ago.
Yeah,
you know, and the memories, you know, really hit me hard, because a lot of those cats ain't around anymore. Unfortunately, they've passed away, or locked up, or families, and we don't know where people are at, you know. But so in school, let's say if I was in Jesus de Piñero, like like a junior high school, I guess it would be considered in English. And if the guys from Comerío would come, Comerío was another town. Let's say, for instance, if we were in San Jose, in the square of San Jose, and you were in Frisco, and you said, yo, let's hitchhike, or let's take the bus down to San Jose and go to the place where these dancers congregate at, and let's call them out. So it was the same thing like in Puerto Rico. So Comerío would come, or Agua Buenas, or Calle, or Caguas, and they would come to our plaza, our square, because they knew we would practice there, or the word of mouth told them. And then if we weren't happened to be there, if we weren't there at that moment, they would tell a little kid, where's the dancers of this this town? You know, where's so-and-so at, or where's so-and-so? And the kid would run to the school knowing that we were in that school. And they would throw rocks at the window, and then somebody would whisper from the window to me, like, you know, look down, and they say, yo, get Poe, or get El Gringo, or something like that. And then they would say, yo, somebody's at the window. So I would ask permission to go to the toilet. I would leave, and they would say, yo. Yeah, and then the kids would say, like, yo, Comerío's here to battle you. They're in the plaza. They want to battle the dancers. So I would go to each salon, each classroom, and I would call the dancers, and I said, yo, the Comerío's in town, and we would all cut class and run down to the plaza and battle.
Oh shit! Damn, that's crazy.
And that's how it was. And we would do the same thing. We would do the same thing. We would cut class and hitchhike, or take a bus to the next town, to Calle or Caguas, whatever, and call them out. And that's how it was. It was raw.
Yeah. So were you breaking? I forgot if I asked you this in the first interview. Were you breaking in Puerto Rico first, and then in San Jose, or was it, or did you first see it in San Jose or in Puerto Rico?
I was a strutter first, man.
Okay, word. So that's patient right there. Like, that's just patient.
Yeah. I was a strutter first. I started strutting. You know, I don't practice anymore. I still throw it here and there. A lot of the routines that I used to do in Style Elements and with Tommy Boy, I made up. They were my old routines from my old crews, and I would just show Tommy, and then he would add his thing to it. But that was what I would remember from strutting. So let's say my first crew here was Streetwise Strutters. Okay, I'm from the South Side of San Jose. And my teachers were Southside Playboys, and that was Mojo, rest in peace, you know, because he recently passed away. And so Southside Playboys were in Dartmouth Junior High School, and I was in elementary school. I started strutting around 80. I think I was 10 years old, and dabbling with it, kind of messing around. My mother has a picture of me tutting that has a stamp from the development, you know, when you develop pictures back then, like code pictures or whatever it was, that says 79, but I don't really remember that. I remember more kind of 10 years old, like elementary school. I had a friend named Lisa and Tanya, Lisa, Tanya, and Sonia, and they lived in these apartments with a swimming pool, and then I would go over there, and I think her brother or cousin was Mojo, and I think Lisa told Mojo, like, oh, this guy robots a little bit. And I was starting it out, and then he said, oh, let me see what you got. And then we ended up exchanging at the pool, and then we became friends. And then when I went to junior high school, he was still there, of course, in a higher grade. I was I think a fifth grader or sixth grader, and then he was like an eighth grader or 7th grader going into high school, 8th grade, and then that's how I exchanged. But that's how I learned. I was a strutter first.
Word.
Then I saw breaking, but it didn't really touch me until my cousins kind of threw down. My cousins are more writers. They went under Rom and Rum, and they kind of threw down, kind of in a way. And
this is in San Jose or Puerto Rico?
I think this was Puerto Rico, yeah, or Staten Island.
Okay, word. Okay,
Puerto Rico. Right. Yeah. I was 12.
Word. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So you basically started with just anything that's affiliated with dance in San Jose, but when you went to the East Coast, it was like people were trying to pop though, right? Were you kind of like smoking everyone because you were like already like because you had a different style and whatever from the West Coast?
Some of them were already kind of nice. Some of them had more of a popping, like a jumpy, jittery kind of popping style.
Right.
San Jose and Cali, we were more like, we had Playboys Incorporated.
Yeah.
We had Demons of the Mind, General Production, Four-Way, Sidewalk, Floor Rockers, like Southside Strutters, Southside Poppers, Southside Playboys, Just Us, like so many crews. I'm talking about crews and individuals.
Right.
Didn't have crews, that they rolled with people, but they didn't have like crews. They were individuals,
Right.
And like there was a guy named Billy Hall. We call him Billy Hall. I learned a lot from him. And we used to go to Oak Ridge Mall to the arcade because they used to have quarter arcades back in the day. And we used to battle a lot there until they kicked us out of the arcade, and then we would end up battling across the street, like in a bank or something where somebody wouldn't kick us out, and like on the floor of the bank. I battled. There was a crew out here called Bad City Breakers, and that was the first time I saw somebody do a hang glide on a thermos.
Okay.
He pulled out a thermos, a water thermos, and did a hang glide on it high and went into fast ass backspins.
Oh shoot! Okay.
Smoked us. It was Bad City Breakers, and yeah, so that there was a lot of crews, bro. There was a lot. Yeah, so yeah, I did start back then.
That's crazy. So okay, so it was already kind of when you came back to San Jose and started breaking in San Jose, it was already kind of movement already. This is like, was this the break exploitation era? It was already full effect. Yeah.
It was strutting that was always around. Kind of like it was always.
Right.
And I grew up in Mountain View and Southside San Jose. So and Palo Alto. I actually had a babysitter that my mother, one of my mother's best friends, her two sons used to pop as well. They used to strut as well. And they were, I think they were from Palo Alto, if I'm not mistaken, or Mountain View. I was so young, so young. I got to ask my mom because they would do that thing in the mirror, like, they would put the half thing and then they would act like they're riding a bike.
Oh, yeah.
And then they would front slide and do it front sliding. And it looked ill when I was a little kid. And I learned that from them, I learned that from them. So, yeah, it was kind of there. Like, it was just there. And if you went to the Santa Clara County Fairgrounds, people were doing it. Like, it was just there. And if you went to San Francisco at the pier, you would see Harry Berry and you would see these guys. Just performing, and you would just battle. Like, I don't know, it was just there. It was just around. Then when breaking came, it was kind of like the boom. Everybody kind of was doing it. And you started to see it in everything. It started coming out on the news more often. It started coming out on television more often. More things started happening, and if somebody on your block knew that you kind of messed with it, or if our garage door was open and then saw you practicing that they didn't care before, once all these movies started coming out, then more people on the block started to congregate and come to you, or you would go to them, and that's how it kind of all started happening.
Yeah, man. I was definitely part of that era. I was a little kid. I was like 7 or 8, but I was definitely remember that. Like at talent shows, like remember the 8th grade. I was like 2nd grade and the 8th graders are breaking. And I was like, what the hell is that? You know what I mean? Like they would have like what was it? They had like, they would set up the ambiance too. Like they turn off all the lights. Then they had the, not the strobe light. They had the alarm, like the police thing, siren, light. And they were just doing windmills and we were tripping out. Like as kids, you're like, what the hell?
Also the strobe light. The strobe light was very popular.
Yeah.
And it would look like everybody was strobing and tipping. That's why we call it strobing,
Right.
That's why open.
Yeah,
You know,
that was crazy
had
times,
that
man.
effect. Yeah, crazy time. You
Did
know,
you go
most
to
people
the
don't
Did you
know.
go to the Imagines? Like there was like a big thing. Like it was DJs and B-boys. That was like 80, shoot, 83, 84 or something. I don't know if you remember that. The Imagine showcases. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
No,
There was Yeah,
is
this was
that in
like
Santa Clara Fairgrounds or
no, it was
where?
in San Francisco. It was like a San Francisco thing.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I didn't experience it. I wish I did. In
Yeah,
San
dude.
Jose, we were doing a thing like we would go to a lot of roller rinks, you know, like
Okay.
Aloha roller. We went to Milpitas roller rink, you know, Cal Skate, and then
Right.
Aloha roller rink, and so that we would a lot of things happen at roller rinks at that time because
Right.
roller skating was still popular. Like we were still
Yeah, yeah,
roller
okay.
skating. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So a lot of things would happen at roller rinks, county fairgrounds, shopping malls, arcades, just walking down the street. And if
Right.
you saw a circle, you know, you would challenge somebody. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right away, right?
Yeah, you thought a fight was happening, and then when you hear
Right.
the music, it's you know, they're going
Yeah.
off, let's go. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like that's how it was basically. You know what I mean?
That's
I
crazy.
never knew about that. Imagines or how
Yeah,
long
the
did that
Imagines is
last?
really big. They're really big, and they continued actually when breaking. So it was like breaking, and I found this out like 3 years ago. My cousin won it with his crew called Zero Gravity, and they were from like San Francisco and from the East Bay, Richmond. So he was like, "Oh, I won the
I
Imagine."
remember that. And if I went to something like that, I don't remember the name.
Yeah.
You know what
So
I
it was the
mean? Yeah.
Imagine showcases. Then they stopped. Well, they stopped the breaking got played out, but it was a DJ competition too. So they kept the
All right.
DJ stuff going on, and this is where Qbert and them and Mike and they would continue to compete at these things. Then the
Wow.
last Imagine had the Knuckle Neck Tribe perform, and that's before the home turf thing. So the last
Oh
Imagine
shit!
was like
Before home turf.
right
Before
before,
home turf.
like, well, there was like, remember there was home
You
turf when
mean
it
the
was just
TV show Home Turf?
yeah. So that's the first time I saw Knuckle Neck was on home turf, but
All
that's
right.
when like 1991. The last Imagine showcase was 91, but they had it from the 80s, and then breaking got played out. They stopped the breaking part, but then they had the DJ still go, and then they stopped in 1991, and that was like
There was a there
the
was
last of it.
a channel that was like Home Turf, but there was a channel before Home Turf that people would come out popping. I saw, if I'm not mistaken, Just Us. There used to be a guy and a kid, an older guy and a kid that used to do a duo routine and strut, and they would do also the nunchucks in their
Oh,
performance. And they used to
oh
come out on
shit.
this channel. They used to come out on this channel. It was a Bay channel, and it would show. It had a brick wall in the back, like a fake brick wall, rusty colored brick wall. It was a fake one, and people would come out and showcase on it and pop and
Okay.
stuff. I forgot the name of this show. Damn, I forgot this name of the show.
Yeah.
But we used to always watch it, man. We used to always
Right.
watch it.
Yeah.
It wasn't
I'm just.
home turf.
Yeah. That is crazy because like right now they're pulling out footage and like there was this one recent home turf footage with Tupac talking shit about MC Hammer, which is funny because they became
Uh,
friends later on. But yeah, I'm just pulling
but
up
this is later
reference.
stuff.
Yeah,
This
this
is
is
later
later.
stuff.
But the original home turf was like her in front of VCR, and then she click play, and then like you know what I mean, and then
Yeah,
she plays a video, a segment, and stuff like that. But the first time I saw
exactly.
Knuckle Neck Tribe was here, but I remember it was like the Imagine showcases, and I had Shortcut on the show, and he talked about like that connection to us, like how the DJs were connected to us, the Filipino DJ scene, and like how like they were throwing showcases, and that was like when I was 16, right? That was like 1991, 92, 93. But it's kind of dope. Like I said, and that's why I'm saying I'm doing all this research now. Like now that I have videos, I can pull these videos up and show people. Like I think I showed Buddha Stretch some video from the 90s. He's like, oh shit, you guys are doing that shit too? I was like, yeah, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
man.
he was on the
Yeah.
show. So I'm just connecting the dots right now.
Well, if you
So,
show
okay.
like a video, if you show a video like of MC Hammer, his first video, I think it's called "Let's Get It Started" or
Yeah.
"Ring 'em." It
Yeah.
might be "Ring 'em,"
Uh-huh.
and you will see a lot of the cats freestyling, like going off.
Right.
You know, that going off, with the original Cabbage Patch that we were doing,
Right.
the Cali style of Cabbage Patch, the Cali style of the Smurf, because the
Right.
New York Smurf is different than the Cali style of Smurf. Also, the way we were doing the guests, which it's our stuff. Also, the Running Man is our stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
like there's certain styles of dance, the Roger Rabbit, the RoboCop, like, you know, I can show you footage, which I got in my archives, of cats going off at a lot of talent shows in, let's say, 86, 87, 88,
Right. Right.
before the 90s. You know what I
Right.
mean? I
Right.
show it in my workshops at times.
Yeah.
You know, you just
Oh,
got to know
dope.
where to look. You know, you just got to know where to look. Like, some of these videos are out there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And,
So
and
okay,
Cali
so
was,
that's
was rocking.
yeah, that's one thing. Like we talked about, like how Hammer went to supposedly
This
Latin
is it.
quarters.
That's it right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's called, that's, watch, if you look at the left of the screen during this video, you're going to see, like, that's the girls. I forgot their names, but they also came out with 357, I think they
Yeah,
were
Oaktown
called, when they came
357.
out.
Yeah. Juicy Gone
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
But this is before they came out with that. They were MC Hammer's
Right.
dancers. So that's the bug out here, and then you'll see the shimmy there. Then they hit the RoboCop here. Then you'll see them hit what is called the earthquake. Most people don't even know the earthquake anymore.
I
You
never
know,
heard that.
you know, like, watch on the left. If you look at the left of the screen, one of the little shorties there. Look at that. Boom, boom. That's the earthquake. Bam, bam,
Oh,
bam,
okay.
bam. That's the
Okay.
earthquake, man. Boom, boom, it's going
RoboCop.
off right here. Boom, boom, whap, whap. Yo, that's the original Running Man there. That's all stuff, man. Like, to my understanding back then.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
what we were
Okay.
doing. That's what we were doing in the clubs. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, even
Yeah.
before I knew who MC Hammer was, this is what we were hitting in the clubs. You know,
Crazy.
I went to a concert. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, 86 or 87. Could be 87. I think I was 16 or 17. So I was 16 and 86 and 17 and 87. And it was Salt and Pepper. I think Heavy D, if I'm not mistaken. But it was like Love Bug and these guys from Salt and Pepper, the producer.
Right. Yeah.
of
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
they had a concert, and who opened up the concert was NWA and MC Hammer.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
MC Hammer sang Ring 'Em, only one song, I think, if I remember correctly, and went off dancing. And NWA only had Dope Man.
Right. Okay. Okay.
You know,
Okay.
Dope Man, the song. And we never even knew who they were.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I mean? But we all went to go see Salt and Pepper and these guys, you know, at the
Right.
San Jose Convention Center in San Jose. So I got to look that up. Maybe it was 87.
87. No, that's crazy because I'm,
Yeah.
doing this show, and like I said, with videos, when I'm interviewing people, they'll bring up some stuff, like some crazy connections where it's like we're all connected. Like, for instance, we had Little Caesar on Gearheads, and we talked about how it didn't animation introduce Darlene to Ice-T, and they're like, "Yo, yeah," and then like J Soul was tripping out. Then he was like, "You know who was her boyfriend before Ice-T?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Ozrock." I was like, "What the fuck?" Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I was just like, "Huh?" Like, that's crazy. Like, but these are the little things, like I said, that were like, that's why I call it like the hip hop dark web. Like, this is like, and then even Lino was like, "Oh, but Ozrock was a biter. He would, when he came to Boston, we didn't let him see our move." So it's like this. There's this connection that I wasn't there, but to like know that actually the hip hop community is that small. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you got to remember, when there is no information, names are being dropped.
Right.
And any little information we have, we grasp it and digest it. You know what I mean? Like rumors of people, you know, and when you get the chance to meet them, like Ozrock, when he did the pilot, you know, Little Caesar and them got to break with him firsthand.
Right.
You know? And Ozrock, when you look at the old footage of him at Radiotron, yo, he's lofting, he's mixing stuff, he's like, he's rocking it, man. The way he transitioned, he wasn't separating moves, like just dominating head spins or windmills. He would really combine everything, and he straight learned from like Dynamic and these guys, you know. So there's like this lineage of it, because we were watching this. Like, anybody that had a chance to connect with someone, you asked as many questions as you could, and you practiced and you dissected how they got down. You know what I mean? Because it was little information. It's exactly what we're kind of doing now. You know, like now you have the opportunity to type it, and it might pop up. The
Yeah,
video,
it might pop up, and that's the whole. Now
yeah,
the show.
it might,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
and
show
that's
right
the
now is
beauty of
about
it.
that. It's like I could talk, and then, like I said, right when you spoke about MC Hammer, I was like, all right, let me look that shit up, and that way, now I
Yeah,
got
yeah,
a.
and it
Now you
came
got a
up.
visual reference now too, so that's dope.
But yo, you got to also, like, like visual, like all that. Back then, we had to go by
Right,
flashes of memory. So let's
right,
say, for instance, if somebody battled me, I couldn't rewind it and
yeah,
like take it exactly the same way.
yes,
My
yeah,
muscle memory, my brain flashes, like flashes of light, would remember the feeling of how that person rocked. The
yes,
feeling of,
yeah,
and then I would go in my room, put up the bed against the wall, like, bend the mattress up. And so I could
right,
have space to practice in my room. This is in Puerto Rico, in the small room, because, our garages are different. Our carports are a little different. And I would go in my room and, yeah, and just try to remember what I thought it looked like in the flash of the blink of the eye, and that created us to kind of create something in a different way. And the next time you got to see that person, how they rock, you realize what you did was different, but it was still effective
yes,
and useful.
yes,
You know what I mean? And it
yes, yes,
created different ways to do something, different
right,
things.
yeah,
Nowadays, with so many workshops and everything and videos, people can take it exactly the same way,
right, right,
which is dope because people are learning and passing down certain traditions. But also, I think it's very important to not watch so much and just try
yes,
to go by memory and see
yes,
what you come up with.
yes,
I
and
think both
feeling. What you
are
you said it the
yeah,
best way. The feeling. Like what was
the
like
feeling,
what's the feeling that gave you, and then you could create actually from that feeling, right? And it doesn't have
just
to
the
be
feeling
exact.
alone. Yo,
Yeah.
the light, the flash of light, that's what
Yes.
made the approach of it. That's
Right.
the approach, brother.
Right.
That approach, you can't, hip hop without that approach is not hip hop to me.
Damn.
Somebody could be technical in the whole nine, but if they ain't got that flash, if they ain't got that 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 burst of something in them, that magic, that light, it's hard to explain, that flash in it. I can
Right.
see it. I can
Yeah.
see it right off the bat and be like, okay, they're doing um the steps of our culture. They're doing it.
Right.
But
Right.
one thing is to know about it. Another thing is to do it, to rock it. I mean, there's three things that I like to say in my workshops. One thing is to know. Another thing is to apply. It's two different things. But the third most important is you first is second is you apply, then the third is you rock it. And that's where the flash comes in. That's where that
Yeah.
style comes in. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It
Yeah.
comes from the rock. And some people might take rock literally because they don't understand the slang word of what rock
Right.
actually means.
Right.
But, a rock, when you hit two rocks together, it has a spark. It has a light. Okay? It creates fire. It can create a
Right.
fire. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
When you do something solid and really dope, you rock it. You rock it. A
Yeah.
rock means just solid. And here in the West Coast, back in the 70s and 60s, and also on the East Coast, they use the term rock as to mean something really good, that you're doing something really fresh with light and spark.
Right.
But also here in Cali, I don't know if New York had this slang word, but in Cali, we would say, yo, man, that's solid. Do me that solid. You
Right.
know what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we would say, yo, man, if you told me, yo, Poe, how was that? And I'll say, solid, man. Solid means it means pure and thick and hard. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you rocked it solid, man. You rocked it,
Right.
you rock.
All right.
So
There you
if
go.
something doesn't have that, I think it kind of misses what the feeling is. DJs have it, the way they scratch, the way they move on the turntables. MCs have it. If they don't have that spark, it loses the crowd. The
Right.
MC will lose the crowd if they don't have this animated motion and how they rocking, and it gets a little bit boring after a little while.
Right.
Like I know
Yeah.
some real dope MCs, like lyricists. I would say lyricists that I've seen them performance, and I'm like, wow, they suck performing.
Yeah. Good
You know what I
song,
mean?
but yeah, live show
Yeah,
is
yeah.
not
You
good.
know, yeah, the live show is not good. But then you got some MCs that are really MCs. They're lyricists and they know how to rock a show and get the
Right,
crowd involved. And the whole crowd is leaning. You know,
right.
like something without a lean has no movement.
Mm. See, now
You
that's
know?
that's graffiti talking right there, but that's all around
Yeah,
hip
yeah.
hop, right?
Without no lean, but even
Yeah,
like writers, a letter, if it's straight, there's no movement. Once it
right.
leans, it has movement.
Yeah,
B-boy, straight, it has a nice rock. Okay, cool. But
yeah,
once they lean into it and they have this theme,
yeah.
then also there's this movement and
Right.
characteristic about it. It becomes very animalistic, and how a panther would lean in and kind of look at something.
There you
I
go.
think it has this sting in it. I think that lean creates that movement. You know what I
Hell
mean? I
yeah.
think it's very
Hell yeah.
fresh. You know?
All right.
Yeah.
So before we move on, let's go to the chat. Josh says, I've always wanted a manga on b-boying with Poe One's art style. Okay. Let's look at Stonesky says, we live in an era where facts and info are at our fingertips, but so much of our society is still built on myth and fables. We shouldn't lose that. Okay. And then Stonesky
Exactly.
says again, humans are storytellers all above. If we rewind and rewatch everything, we will no longer have stories to tell. Damn. All right. That was deep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So
Stone. That's Stone Ski from BVD, right? That's Stone.
I'm not sure if that's Stonesky from BVD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's Stonesky he on the chat. So before we move on, I want to give a shout out to Break Connect. And what we're going to watch is the Break Connect clip of the day. And I think the clip of the day is you in
Oh wow. Thanks,
98, I think, Pro-Am. I think that'll be the clip of the day. Let's watch that right now. Let's see.
Oh, you're gonna make me blush.
Oh,
Nah, that's a jam I did in Puerto Rico.
it's Puerto Rico? Okay, word. Oh shit, that was dope. Let's watch that.
Look at this plank, everybody. Whoop.
All right.
Flip his face.
Okay.
This is Japan.
Oh shoot.
Cannonball. You know how many people fit that?
Alright.
They don't want to get credit.
Okay.
This is B-Boy Summit. B-Boy Summit. Boom.
All right. Yeah, just a little bit because copyright. I think I already got a strike right there, but whatever. I had to show it. I was like, nah. Okay, I was like, yeah, I just picked the one of the videos that you showed me. Again, technology, right? I could just pull that up, like boom, we could watch it. You could comment. And you're like, so you said, what were some of the jams that were that you mentioned? That was the clip.
Japan, the Japan clip when I do the hand gesture, like the F off gesture, you know, that is on the tribal tour. That is in 2000. That's 23 years ago.
Crazy.
That was in 2000, and that was on the Japan tribal tour that Bobby and them took me. Shout out to Carl and Bobby at that time. Now it's only Bobby at tribal, but Carl and Bobby's the one who brought me out there on the tour. The Puerto Rico one was an event that I did with Stilo called Enter Our World. And we did 2 events together, Enter Our World and Return to Our World. And that was me in the circles. And Kenny was there. Crumbs was there. I flew Kenny in and Crumbs. And that was, I think, 98, maybe. I think that was 90, if I'm not mistaken. Could be even 97. 97 or 98. Then the other clip was in B-Boy Summit, and I think that was B-Boy Summit also 2000, I think, or 2001.
Okay.
I could be, yeah. And yeah, those were the 3.
That's crazy.
Clips,
so okay, so we talked about the past. Okay, word. We talked about the past. You know, a lot about the past actually. What are your thoughts right now as far as the scene now? Like we've like, you know, like Rainin, Flo, Bonita, they're all in Colorado with the potential USA team. You know, now we're talking about next year is the Summer Olympics in Paris, right? With breaking in it. What's your opinions on that right now? It's like, you know, do you like it? Do you want to see something different? You know, we talked about using your imagination versus like, and then you seeing a move and trying to get the feeling and creating that from that feeling versus like, okay, we have access now. What are your thoughts on everything? What would you want to, what do you want to see, or you don't want to change anything?
That's a broad question. That's dope. I could answer so many different ways because there was like, 6 questions in there. You know what I mean?
Just go with your
Um,
feeling, bro. Go with your feeling.
like, like, okay, first of all, about the Olympics, I can't have an honest opinion until it happens. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, fair
Like,
enough.
until
Fair
I
enough.
see it on TV and I see what they do there. I
Right.
hope they represent the. I hope everybody there is representing the culture as a whole. And what I mean by that, they represent it correctly. To
Mm.
all the coaches out there, I'm one of the coaches, and for other teams as well. I it's creating a great opportunity for a lot of us to share information, work information. We're learning a lot as well as the process is happening. Um, I think that's great. I I hope that all the coaches, are really really breaking down history of
Mm.
sharing that history down to their dancers that are going to be sharing this when they get interviewed in the Olympics. They're going to be getting interviewed, and talked to. If you look at like the gymnasts and the ice skaters, they always get to sit down and they get to be asked questions. Um, Also, the moderators, like what is it called in English? When somebody's watching a football game or basketball, there's like a guy
Commentator?
on the mic
Yeah.
commentating.
Commentator. Yeah.
It's very important that if we educate our dancers about the history and the moves and where each thing comes from, this will educate the commentators, and the commentators will be able to break things down.
Yes.
I hope people are taking this in real good consideration, and
Yeah.
really, because I'll be honest, even commentators at Red Bull and others, and they're my boys, and some people are commentators. Some of the things that I hear are said, I cringe, and I'm like, oh my God, that's not, some people are still saying like, oh, he's a style guy or he's a power
Oh,
guy,
right. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and they haven't corrected themselves because they're stuck in the 90s. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
and I come from a generation when there was no separation of that. Like, I come from an 80s generation, and I was like, I understand where they're coming from, but there's no such thing as a style guy, because they're trying to refer a style guy as a footwork guy, and there's no such thing. I've seen footwork guys with no style. You know what I mean? Style is the presentation of how you do something. I've seen guys that only dominate spins. In my day, we called them dynamics, and that dominated their dynamics, and they had mad style.
Yes.
On how they
100.
presented it. You know what I
100.
mean? So this thing that we're still using in the 2000s, we need to correct ourselves, because
We're in
now,
the 2020s, bro. Like we have,
yeah, we
you know
need,
what I mean? It's not even 2000. So this
yeah,
is, yeah,
very
that's the
important.
thing that I think the problem is, and I'm gonna, now we're talking old man talk right here. This is the real, the problem is, like, I talk to a lot of people. I'm like, the funny thing is what I run into right now is 25-year-olds talking about that's not the way it's supposed to be done. I'm like, weren't born, bro. Like, you weren't even there in the 90s.
Yeah.
But you're going
Or
off
the
your
80s.
elders.
Or the 80s. Yeah, yeah.
You're going off your elders, and no disrespect, but you follow that like a religion. Like, times have changed, and some of the things that we did in the 90s does not apply. It can't apply right now. It just can't.
Can't apply right now. Yeah,
Can't
exactly.
apply right now.
The
But
stuff
and
in
that
the 80s just doesn't apply. But the recipe will always be fly. The
and
original recipe will always be fly.
and if you knew
You
the
know what I'm
history, you
saying?
could respect the history instead of like making it a religion. And if I have to do this because
Yeah.
my uncle taught me this. Like, sometimes you gotta listen to the stories and take it as is. But then, it's 2023. Like, yo, you weren't there. Like, they talk about underground b-boy. Ain't no such thing as underground b-boy, man. Like, everyone's underground b-boy. Like, we ain't getting no 6-figure contract yet. Like, you know what I mean?
You know,
That's what's crazy.
it's for me, that's what, to answer your question, to me, that's like, it's very important to educate. I've been building with a lot of people online quietly, like in Zoom meetings and stuff. And they ask me my concerns, my biggest, and they're not worries, they're just concerns. Is like, let's educate. Really, it's our chance to educate and get it right.
Yeah.
There's many
Yeah.
rights, many rights, but
Yeah.
it's our chance to not let just the news dictate
Mm.
what it's called. You know, we dictate now what it's called.
Right.
You know, we're
Right.
not 15-year-old little kids, 14-year-old little kids
Right.
getting interviewed and letting them kind of dominate the interview
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
us. Now we're
Yeah.
grown men and we're able to
Yeah.
explain to them like, oh, it's called this and it's
Yeah.
called that, and we're able to correct the
Right.
terminologies and keep it right. And the more older guys that we talk to, older than me and older than you, it's a blessing because the culture is still so young that
That
they're
they're
still
still
here.
alive.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's
I
a
got,
blessing to hear what they
yes.
called it on their block. You know what I mean? And what you know, like, yeah, it's just a blessing. So I think it's very important to let our ego to the side and not think that we are the dictators or something, because we're not. We, you know, if there's something that I've said wrong or something like that, I will research and I will correct myself and say, you know what, in my time I called it this, but I recently found out it's called this. And you
Right.
know, I keep myself a student, you know what I mean? And that keeps us hungry. You doing these trades and you researching and having people on, and then you going down the rabbit hole to find other names that other people are mentioning. That's the hunger in you. And
Dude.
that's, for me, a coach or somebody that's involved in this culture as in general, not even a coach, but if you're going to take the responsibility of a coach or a passer of information, you know, that hunger should always be there. It shouldn't
Yeah.
stop, because that
Yeah.
hunger will help you educate and share more information with others.
Yeah, man.
Always keep the hunger. I think it's the
I
most
got, you know,
important.
like I said, like when I talked about the doing the show with Dr. Derek Colonna, Urban Exegesis, he's not even a b-boy. He used to break, but you know, we go deep. You know what I mean? And like, you know, I got the benefit of talking to Dancing Doug, you know, who's one of the first Herculoids, and he was just telling me like, he was like, we didn't do that step, and he talked to even about like, you know, the separation of rocking, and then like
I saw it,
how
man. I loved it. I
Batch and
loved it.
them were like part of that. Like, so it's like this puzzle's starting to get filled now. Like, okay, we got people actually fulfilling the puzzle, and we're talking about the black spade dance and what they were doing, what they called the parachute, or Kenny called it parachute, but they called it the umbrella, like, which is a
The
knee drop,
umbrella.
right? Colt 45, but like Monk of Black Spade was demonstrating it. And I'm pulling up these videos and
But
Dancing
it's
Doug. I said,
also with the hands. It's a
right,
cold
right,
for it's the knee drop, but it's how they move their hands that made it
right,
look a certain. You know what
right.
I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
when Kenny does it, he once called it a swan, and then later on I heard him call it a parachute.
Parachute,
But
yeah.
when I heard Beaver and Doug and other people
Right.
talk, they talk about other moves, and then you could see it in their hands. Like when you look at
Yeah.
Grandmaster DXT do something,
Yeah.
you see their arms and their hands a certain way, that they have this character and that light that I told you
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
man.
And that's when it was dope, is because now it's like I'm cool with these people. You know, I'm cool with like Doug. I'm cool, like they holla. It's like he's making a documentary, which is dope. Because then even as a guy at his age, he's like, I just found out about Caesar. I just found out about Incredible Breakers. I'm seeing the connections
Yeah,
from when I did it. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
like, you know, so it's like now it's being more defined, and it's like it's funny because it's like it's only a handful of us that are really like shout out to like Norrin Rad, shout out to Pluto. These guys are the, you know, these are guys doing the research, but I'm the
No,
one that was like, yo,
Nemesis too.
Nemesis, yeah,
Nemesis
yeah,
too.
Nemesis is always
Yeah,
with Nemesis is always with Doug too. But it's just like
yeah.
it's only a handful of us, but I'm gonna use my platform to talk about it. I'm giving these
Fable,
guys shine.
Fable always brought cats
100,
out.
100,
Fable
100.
always, way back, Fable was bringing cats out.
Yeah, yeah. I
Burn
mean,
One was bringing cats out.
yeah,
Like Burn
yeah,
One was bringing King Uprock and all these cats out, like
yeah, yeah.
grabbing them when people were,
Right.
and shout out to like Speedy Legs and Zulu Gremlin, because the proams were very educational.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
agree.
was listening. Shout out to Asia and Easy Rock when they were doing B-Boy Summits together. And also after Asia continued them, they were always educating. Always, they were
Right,
bringing cats
right,
out that had knowledge of some, and those cats were bringing other cats out or mentioning cats.
right.
They were mentioning names that got me interested, and then I would go to other cats and ask about those names, and it would fill in the rabbit hole. You know what
Yeah,
I
and
mean? Like,
I'm gonna say this too. The thing is, you know, it's the 50th year of hip hop now, official 50th year, and they're gonna about to
yes,
have the hip hop they're gonna have the hip hop museum, right? And the thing is, now everyone's doing the research now, like really now. But you know who always like respected was like the summits. the Summits, all these things always brought these guys. They always brought like the Coke. They always gave shout out to Coke Rock. They always gave shout out to like as much as they could. And I think B-boys were the ones that were like keeping this history alive. We cared about Cool Herc before anyone else did. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like the DJs and the B-boys.
Too.
Yeah, there you go.
Anniversary too. Like when I went in '95, I met a lot of cats that went to the Rocksteady anniversary, and they were like old school cats just hanging in the park. And I saw them get to rock a little bit, and you know what I mean? And to me, that like traveling and going to New York and meeting cats and seeing like the executioners hitting in the street and then asking,
shout like, going straight,
going to Wayne Blizz and asking him questions when he started in 74, 75, and asking him and asking Grego directly, yo, Grego, you know, asking these guys that were there in the 70s and asking them what influenced them and how did they see other breakers. It really goes down a rabbit hole with so much influence that even goes down to like 68, 67 when I don't even think it was called breaking. Right. You know, it was like, you know, it was like an influence of just swing and tap and Nicholas Brothers and James Brown. You know what I mean? Like different, you know, but man. I'm not from that era. Right. I'm from the 80s. You know what I mean? It's like, even though I'm 52, man, these cats are pushing 60 something. You know what I mean?
100, 100.
You know, I'll be honest, like even Papo Love, you know, the crew I'm in now, BVD.
BVD, you know, shout out to BVD.
You know, it's like Papo's 56, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or 57, something like that, 56, maybe 55, 60. You know, I'm only 52. That's only 3 years apart or 4 years apart, depending if he's 56 or 55, you know. And but that is a big difference when you're a kid. It's a big difference, you know, because they're seeing things a little bit sooner than you. Yeah. You know, when I'm 10, you know, they're 14, 15.
Yeah, that's different.
You know, that's different, man.
Yep.
A 10-year-old and a 15-year-old is different.
Yep.
You know, you're all hanging with them, but it's a different mentality.
Right.
Puberty's involved and all that. It's a different mentality, man.
Yep.
So 100. There is a difference. You know what I mean? Man. Like, and I tell people like that all the time. Like my mentors were 14, 15, 16 years old, you know, like, and they were living a different life, man. You know what I mean? And that's just the truth of it. Yeah, you know, there's a difference. Anybody asking questions on there or saying anything?
Yeah. So we're gonna go through the chat a little bit. Stonsky says, no, I'm from Winnipeg, where Flexum lives right now. So that's where he's from. Word. He also says, ICI said that he was inspired to do his dynamics with style from watching Ken Swift do footwork dynamically. All right, fresh. Vin Zell says the legend Poe One. The legend Poe One. So all right, so we're talking about, okay, this is dope because like I said, this is just right now this is when we're getting like, okay, we're going deep into like, you know, like our beliefs and like what we're talking about. And this is all just this what's dope about this is that we're just going off of like kind of like the flow of the conversation. So we talked about like, you know, what's going on now and what we would like to see. Where do you see breaking going, like in your opinion?
Hopefully, I still haven't answered all your question about
generally you did, but we can keep going.
I only talked about one section of it, which was the coaching in the Olympics. You know what I mean?
Okay.
One thing that I love that hip hop still does till today, you know, is still because of your rep or something like that, or how hard you work. It opens opportunities and doors for you in different neighborhoods. It gets you to travel, gets you accepted in different neighborhoods. In my day, if you couldn't walk down a certain block when hip hop came, or if they knew your name, you can walk down that block.
True.
Okay. Yeah. And without getting stomped out, you know what I mean, or something like that. You know, it continues to open doors. Hip hop is continuing to do that, and now everywhere in the world. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. You know, you can still get stomped out if you walk through the wrong block. You know, 100. I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, it's still opening a lot of doors and a lot of opportunities. And because of the internet and more stuff out there, I think there's a lot more opportunities for people to be seen in a different way. It's,
Mhm.
you know, it's still the same way as like, oh, yo, did you see so and so? Back in the day, it was like you would have to see so and so. I don't like to say back in the day. I never really say that. Well, in my day, it would just be, oh, did you hear about so and so, this new dancer here? And then you're looking for the opportunity to see this person. Now it's the same thing, but I can say, look at so and so, and then you'll type it in, and there'll be a video that pop up.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and you can see it instantly, and through that instantly can get that person opportunities right off the bat to
Yeah.
get invited to maybe
Mhm.
go to a competition and go to different places. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, to teach a workshop or an opportunity to judge, I think that's beautiful, because now you would have to dig for somebody's number. Now you just dig a little bit and you can find
Yeah.
somebody's contact in
Yeah.
Facebook or
100.
something. So I think
Yeah.
these times are beautiful in that aspect. You know what I mean? And all, I
Yo,
think you
Poe,
get
you
to get
there?
all that, you know, right there. You can put on YouTube, and if you need a mix to dance to, you know, my day was hard. You needed a cassette, and you needed to have a recording of it, and you need to get somebody to give you a copy of it, or if you recorded the late night radio show and then you know, all that stuff, and you passed it on. Now you could just, you know, put breaking music and mixes will come up. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's
100.
like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, you know. So I think that's beautiful, but at the same time, I think there's a saturation of
Mm.
people not appreciating what they have in their hand.
Mm.
Like, you know, and I used to love sitting on the toilet and reading record, the sleeves of the record player or the behind the record of what who produced it, who was the
Yeah.
drummer, who was this, all this. When CDs came out, or cassette tapes first, and then CDs, I would read the sleeves that would come out, and the sleeve, and it had who produced it on all that. Nowadays, it's like you ask somebody, yo, who's your favorite DJ, or what beat do you like, or this, that, or who produced it. They don't really know, and they don't really care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless it's like a Red Bull BC1 soundtrack, an event that motivated them, just that mix.
Right.
But they don't dig deep. Like in my workshops, I challenge people, and I ask them. I say to them like, "Yo, you guys consider yourselves that you love hip hop?" And they say, "Yeah." And then I say, "Oh, great, man. That's good. Who gave the name hip hop to hip hop?"
Oh.
And then they don't
Uh-oh.
raise their hand. Yeah, they don't raise their hand.
Uh-oh.
Then I say, who's considered the godfathers of hip hop? Like who
Right.
created the scratch and this,
Right.
that,
Right. Right.
and some of them are even DJs, and they
Right.
don't know. They
Some
don't
are
dig deep.
DJs.
Some of them are even are b boys or b girls, and they DJ and they don't even know.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
they might not even know who Qbert is, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's way after. And that's way after.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean,
I mean,
like
we're
you
dealing with
ask people who
18-year-olds, man.
yeah. But I mean, if you, like, I don't know. I think what I'm trying to say is, you're still hungry, so you do these trades. I'm still hungry, so and these trades make you research. Me,
Mhm.
I'm still hungry, so I'm researching. I might not remember everything, but I'm
Right.
researching. I'm hungry,
Right.
and I get
Right.
inspired, and I have a flame inside me.
Right.
I don't think there, not a lot are so hungry to really, you know, there's people hungry, but there's not a lot that I see when I challenge them and ask these questions. They don't seem to know the answers, or they don't seem to have it, or are interested in it.
Right.
There's breakers that only pay attention to breaking.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I
Yep.
tell them, yo, do you ever look at other things that influence breaking? And they say no. So I'll put on videos. You've been to one of my workshops, like you
Oh
see me
yeah.
sitting down with your girl, and I'll play like Soul Train, and I'll play like cartoons, and I'll play like Superman, Up, Up and Away, which is called my Superman movie. It's called Up, Up and Away.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
It's like what he would say before he took off. And they don't see the relationship between Charlie Chaplin and the Hat, and the
Right.
Three Stooges, and you know, and the Wonder Twins, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, Flame On. Like even in
Yeah.
rapping, when it goes Flame On, you know, like when
Right.
Daz
Right. Right.
Effect says Flame On,
Right.
they don't
Right. Right.
even know the reference to that. They're
Yeah.
not watching the cartoons. I'm still watching the old cartoons and the new cartoons because I understand the referencing of what the MCs are saying today and
Right.
what the old MCs are saying from before. I'm
Yeah.
still hungry. I'm still this big, huge kid,
Right.
you
I
know?
hear it. I
And
hear it.
I wish people still had that passion. They're great move wise, but logic things they seem not to get sometimes. Like
Yeah. You
things that
don't
might
even
be
know.
logical.
You don't even know,
You
man.
know what I mean?
I'll take some guy that's talented,
Yeah.
physically talented. I say, why don't you try
Physically
this to
talented.
this? And then they're like, whoa, I never thought about that. I was, of course you never thought about that. You don't think like that. You think in competition. You don't think
Yeah.
in creativity. You don't think in
Uh,
character. You don't think in concept, which is funny.
People
You
don't
know,
understand that a character comes from a fantasy world in your head and a song that might have a sound in it. And that sound might remind me of steam. And I
right,
might start playing hot lava on the floor like we used to play
right,
when we were kids in our living room.
right,
And I might start, and the song might have doop, 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 and then in it. And then so I might go on my tippy toes and pull my pants up like I'm walking on hot stone. And then all
right.
of a sudden I'll touch the floor and then go like this with my hands. And then that character came
Yeah,
out because of the game we used to play when we were little kids.
right.
And you added into your breaking. So they don't
Yeah,
understand that the gestures come from the games we played as kids. The
right.
gestures we do.
Yeah,
And our gestures create the spice and taste on top of something that we do. Okay?
yes,
On the move you do, it ain't just about the movement, but the groovement, okay? And the taste comes from the character you put on it and the playfulness that you put on it.
yeah,
Okay, and that confidence and certainty of what you want to present in that moment. There's a storytelling in there. Man, you come in like people say Groucho Marx, like the
right,
original Muggsy, the cartoon, the Muggsy.
right,
Like you ask Ken Swift, that's the cartoon. We all watched that cartoon when I was a kid. You know what I
right,
mean? I have a move that's the Pink Panther, and it comes from the Pink Panther. I have a
right.
move that I call it the Pee Wee Herman in my Top Rock set because it comes from Pee Wee Herman. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? I have
yeah,
the Charlie
man.
Chaplin. I have the Nicholas brothers. I have
Yeah,
Sammy Davis Jr. You know, the name of the step that I do comes from the person and the character that I'm imitating.
right,
If the move doesn't have, even if I do the same move, like this is what I told the guys in Puerto Rico. I said, okay, what is this called? They said it's a native step, right? A two-step. I don't want to say Indian step anymore because it's not appropriate because the
okay.
colonizers came here and called us
There
Indians
it is.
because they
Right,
thought they landed in India, all right?
right,
So I'm
right,
just
right,
going to say native step, an original
right,
Aboriginal native step, okay? So our native steps, I said, okay, let's just do a basic two-step. I said two-step in a club, two-step with a jog, and then two-step with a run, 3 speeds.
mm,
And then I tell them, I'm gonna do the two-step with the jog. I'm gonna do it, and then I do it. What is this called? And they say native step, and then I say no, it's not called that. And then they say, why not? It's the native step. And then I said because I'm not doing it with the native character. You
mm,
know what I mean?
yeah,
When the bounce comes in that has a certain native character to it, and you start doing stuff like this and start pulling behind your back and start acting like you have a axe or something, when
right,
you do stuff like that, then it becomes that character, it becomes
right,
that.
right.
You know what I mean? The
Yeah,
character gives it the spice and the taste and
there
gives
you
it
go.
the name. It,
There you
in
go.
my understanding, when I began to understand that, my top rocks completely changed.
Mm-hmm.
When I began
Yep.
to understand my real life, my games in real life are how I present myself in the circle, everything changed for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when you look at the top breakers from past to present, they know how to do that. You know what I mean? They know how to do
It's
that.
definitely a lost art, right? But then, like I said,
You know?
with shows like this, with you doing workshops and with mentoring, people will open up to it, and this is
Yeah.
what I say. I told Carl Pioli, who was he was one of the head coaches of Breaking for Gold previously. I said, this is like, movement wise, yeah, we can look at China, we can look at Russia, we can look at all these countries, and movement wise, yeah, they're excellent. Their athletics are excellent. But this rich history that we have is what's gonna give us the edge. It's gonna
Correct.
give us
And
the edge.
this is why I don't want it to lose that.
Right.
If
Right.
they begin to think move based and not groove based,
Yeah.
And and because the groovement will give you the movement.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when you begin to understand that and train that, our spice and our style is gonna outweigh anybody because it's the most imitated in breaking, anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, the hand gestures they're doing,
Yeah.
man. The hand gestures, the wiping the shoulders. I mean, it's a ghetto American culture.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. It's and that's the bottom line. It's like, I don't like to pick coast. I like to say I'm from around the world because I travel so much. But you're imitating an attitude and a character from the cartoons that came from American cartoons and
Right.
came from American television that created the style and gestures that you see today in the art form of American b-boys and
Yes,
girls.
sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
the first generation. Even if the show might have been an old European show, let's say, because Charlie Chaplin was actually European.
Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but made himself famous with the films in America.
Yeah.
And then the difference is we saw the character, the Three Stooges, all these people, we saw this character and we utilized the character to create a dance through it. Okay? When other people around the world did not think of it as a dance form. Okay? Right. It was the kids playing games here that loved the attitude and gestures and all that decided to implement it in the dance. And
Yes,
that changed the game. You
Hell
know
yeah.
what I'm saying? That changed the game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? When Kenny uses the Bruce Lee,
the pythons,
Street, the Python style, you know what I mean? Use the cartoon as the Muggsy, and that's the main thing everybody uses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, bro.
Yeah.
You know, the Von Baudet, even though Von Baudet is German, I think, Von Baudet created the Cheech Wizard, the Cobalt 60, with the belly, with the yellow hat and the stars, which is the most imitated character that most writers use in their characters that created the b-boy stance in character with the belly sticking out and the feet together.
Right.
That's Von Baudet influence, Von Baudet influence, which created an influence of standing on square and all this and all around the world. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, in America, these influences go on, but it was the American kids. I don't like to say this. People are going to be like, because I'm very neutral, but fact is fact.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hip hop dominates the world and everybody partakes now. But the first domination around the world was the American hip hop. And that is the blueprint and that is the recipe. And you can't change that. People can add on to the recipe and all that. But the funk is the funk. And that started here.
There you go. Well said, Poe. I mean? Well, so it's about an hour 18 in. We're gonna sign out soon. But before we do, let's look at the chat. Vinzel says, "Does Poe One age? I'm 26 and I already have grays." And then Dear Gotti says, "No way, it's Poe One." What else? I advertised it. And Dear Gotti says, "I was in elementary when I first saw Poe." Damn. That's our age. Vinzel says WWE inspires my breaking. Yeah, it should. It should. And he also says, "Hell yeah, Poe. I still watch cartoons too. And I'm 26 and my friends be judging me." Nah, don't let them judge you. Don't let them judge you.
Nah, man. Never lose the kid inside, you guys. Never.
There you go.
I want some serious questions, man. Some serious questions. And if somebody's talking crap, I also want to answer that too.
No one's talking crap. Everyone loves you, bro. Everyone loves you. But we're about to wrap it up. What's that advice? You know what I mean? What's advice? Or like, actually, there's two parts, so you can ask both. Like I said earlier, where do you see it going? Where do you see the future of breaking and hip hop? And then what would you like to see?
Okay, well, say the first question again.
Where do you see breaking going?
First question, bro. I hope it continues to do what it's doing. Like I said earlier, I hope it continues to unite people. I hope it continues to be medicine for individuals that need it, because it's a medicine, man. You know what I mean? And I think we need this to heal. We have a lot of trauma, and
100.
and I think we need it. So I think it can. I hope it continues to do that, and people see that and understand that their life can change or their day can change by just turning on some music and getting down and sweating out whatever they had inside. You know
Right.
what I mean? I
Yeah.
think I think that recipe and hip hop continues to do that, which whatever craft you choose in hip hop culture. You know what I mean? I think it continues to do that. It's a medicine in itself. It has given you families. It has given you friendships that are considered families, crews, opportunities, all that. That's where I hope it keeps going and keeps taking people. You know what I mean? On a worldwide level, I hope it continues to unite people. I would not be on this show right now if you and I did not. I don't think I would be on the show if you and I didn't share the same passion in hip hop, and if hip
Yep.
hop wouldn't have been the link and chain to connect us and how we met through jams and raves and jams and other things where we've met up. You know, all
Yeah,
the
man.
safe places that existed because of promoters that loved hip hop and that created these safe places for us to congregate, to not just be always in the street. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
That's how I see jams as well, like events, organize things. I see them as safe places to be able to share what you love to do with other people that love the same thing. They're safe environments. You know what I mean? And I think hip hop. I hope hip hop continues to create, or people that are involved in hip hop continue to create these safe environments for people.
There you go.
You know what I mean? But I still hope it never loses its edge.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Um, it comes from, you know, comes from our ghetto brothers, our brothers and sisters of color, and it comes from a lot of people of color, of different shades of colors. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? And I think we need to respect that. And it's embraced. Hip hop has embraced everybody with open arms,
Yes, sir.
uh, and it
Yes,
will.
sir.
I think it will always continue to do that.
Yeah.
You know, a message to people: believe in yourself, never hold yourself back. There was many years that I held myself back, um, because I didn't want to outshine somebody else. So I let them shine, and then I would go in once or twice, and then I'd go back into the shadows. And people saw that shine come in once or twice, but also it was a fear sometimes inside me, uh, because of judgment around the world, or judgment in the circle, or judgment on the block. Sometimes I would hold myself back for certain things. So my advice is never hold yourself back. Shine, but don't be arrogant while you do it. Just shine and share that light with people, and make them feel more welcome. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay. Like Frosty Free says, rest in peace, brother. Competition is tradition. That's important. You got a challenge to see your growth in a way. Um, so challenge. Somebody gets on your nerves, then stand proud, stand hard, but don't be so arrogant that it blinds you to the fact of who's better than you, who's not better than you, or it stops your growth, because sometimes ego and arrogance can stop your growth. You know what I'm saying? Because it
Yes,
ain't all
sir.
about you. It ain't all
Yes,
about
sir.
you. It's about us all together.
There you
It's
go.
about we all together.
There you go.
One will not survive without the other. You
All
know what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah,
And
man.
I think my advice is learn all you can, everything about yourself, and learn all you can about others, and learn all you can about the energy that exists within this hip hop culture. You
Dope,
know?
man. We're gonna end
Yeah.
on that. Before we end it on that, let's go to the chat one more time. Josh, how is the music in the Olympics gonna be? Hopefully good.
Hopefully good.
Hopefully good.
Hopefully good.
Vinzel says, any advice from Poe One is good advice. One love. Dear Gotti says, so true. And nighty night, y'all. And Joshua says, right on, Poe. It's medicine. The elements be cathartic. There you go. So, man, dude, this has been a dope show. You know what I want to do? I'm stating this now. I want to do. So I got the concept of like, okay, so not everyone agree with these politics, right? But then there's these podcasters, right, which is like Joe Rogan, Brett Weinstein, Jordan Peterson. They call themselves the intellectual dark web, and I was like, that's why I was like, oh, let's be the hip hop dark web, right? Like, because we're digging deep, right? We talk about. I would like to do one panel of all of the intellectuals in hip hop, and let's just do a whole show, and just do what we did just now. And we're talking from graffiti, from MCing, from journalists, the hip hop journalists like Dregs or Adisa or any of these. That way we could just have Dr. Derek Cologne. Like, I think it would be dope just to have this like maybe once every 6 months, just a meetup, just online, and we just throw a topic out and we just talk, right? Like something like making connections or something like that. You know what I mean?
Love that. I would love to, because a lot of the like there's kids calling me old school, right? And they call me legend and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and I don't consider myself that. I'll be honest, because I have my legends that I look up to and my old school cats that I look up to, that are older than me, but I do understand that when they started, all the information they saw, we were in.
Right. Yeah.
All the my legends and stuff, in my day when I was starting, the legends, like, they were the information that I would see, and they were always in that.
Yeah.
The good thing is of being older is I keep seeing more and more new information and new people coming on the block and new heroes. I call them heroes. Young or old. Like I get inspired from the young generation. That hold down. That will smoke me in a battle.
Right.
But that's what I want. Like some cats say, oh, how can you let them do that to you? Or you can't battle an old guy or somebody that came before you. And I'm like, why not? You know what I mean? Like I want cats to battle me. You know what I mean? They don't have to if they respect me, they don't have to cut my head off and cock me and all that shit.
Right.
I don't have to do that because that, if there's a certain respect, I wouldn't do that to somebody if there's a certain respect unless they touch me and make me mad. You know what I mean? But if it was just, I want to go rounds with this cat, I'm gonna, then I'm gonna test the cat. If it starts getting heated during the battle and these gestures starts coming out, then it happens naturally.
Right.
But I get hungry from the young cats and the young cats.
Same here.
Like I don't believe in these rules. Like I've heard rules like oh, they can't step into this circle, or they can't step to that cat. They haven't paid their dues enough, or this that. I understand it,
right?
But I overstand that. Like the only way. There is a moment when you're ready. There's a moment when you're getting ready. There is a moment when you're kind of you're paying your dues, but the only way, it's called paying dues. You gotta step to people. You gotta step to people that you're scared of.
Right.
You gotta step to people. You gotta step in the circles that scare you.
Yeah.
If you see a bunch of cats going off and you know in yourself that you can't hold that conversation yet, then just stay on the wings and watch. But if you feel you're able to handle that energy a little bit, jump in, because that's how you pay your dues. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. People can disagree, but I knew my place. And I know sometimes people don't know their place, but I'm kind of like, when is that place right for you? Like, I tell them, I say, okay, when is it right for you? You need to be aware of this. You need to be kind of aware of it. But at the same time, I'll be in circles and I can see a little kid just watching with his eyes open and he's really enjoying the circle. And I can tell he's fidgety and he wants to go in.
Jump in, yeah.
He wants to jump in. So I'll go in and then I'll commando the kid in.
Right,
and I'll pull the kid's hand in and then I say, come on, brother.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I wish cats did that to me. They didn't do that to me when I was a kid. They were more like, you know, if I stepped in, you had to hold your own. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
but
right,
it made
right.
me who I. But
Yeah.
these kids, what you do is you chisel off the ice in these kids, and
Hmm.
these kids begin to want to have fun with you, and they begin to want to dance with you.
Hmm.
And the next time you see them at a jam, they're in your circle with you, and you can see their growth actually automatically.
Yeah.
You can see that they broke the ice from fear, and that they're
Yeah.
actually jumping in each circle, having fun, and understanding when to stop, when not to go, and they kind of gradually just learn it. But they were not humiliated by it, and they were
Yeah.
not humiliated by making the wrong choice,
Right,
you
right.
know, and feeling like a herb or something like that. There's nothing wrong with that, but I don't like that kind of feeling. I don't want somebody to go home and not feel they didn't have fun at the jam.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I don't want to be the cause of them not having fun at the gym. I want to
There
be
you
the
go.
one that they left and went home and said, yo, I had a great time with so and so at the gym,
Yeah.
you know, and looking forward. And I think that's the hip hop kind of
Hell yeah.
way.
There you go.
Some
That's it.
people will say kind of like, some people will say, ah, post soft or whatever, you know
Nah.
what I mean?
It's a different
I'll be
time,
like
bro.
this.
It's a different time. It's a different time.
I'll say it right now. It's like, I'll say it right now. If you think I'm, you know, if someone thinks I'm soft and they're watching this, cool. Step to them in the circle. See how
They
soft I
won't.
am. You know what I
And they
mean? It's
won't.
like, you know, and if you smoke me, it's fine.
Yeah, it's
You
fine.
know,
It's fine.
because the day you get me is another day I'll get you.
There you go.
You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yes, sir. Yes,
You
sir.
know what I mean? It's
All
like,
right. Well, man, this has
all
been a
right.
great show, man. So, you can follow Poe One right here on IG, Poe One Ism, and you can
All right.
follow me at where is it? I think Profo One at PROFO underscore FLGZ on Instagram. This has been the trades with the return of Poe One. Peace,
Peace, brother. Thank you,
and see
man.
you guys
God bless
later.
you.
Peace.
All right, bro.
Yes, sir.
Blessings.